There is one reason that nobody knows why I said yes. And even the people that actually called me to say, they would want me to come and talk to you in terms of motivation. They don't know what propelled me to actually want to come so quick. In 1998, I gave birth to a girl. None of you know about it, I know. And when I gave birth to this girl, there were complications. And in those, one of the complications is the little girl could not see. Secondly, the little girl could not go to the toilet. Thirdly, she had multiple complications, and she only survived for 10 months before she moved on to be with the Lord. Now, as I look at you here, I see you as my sons and daughters. And now what said to me I must come? The question was very simple. If my girl was sitting here, what is it that I would tell her? So bear with me. Whatever I'm going to tell you today is what I was going to tell your sister if she was here. Because I look at you as my sons and my daughters. All right? You're with me up to the 11, right? So I became so motivated to come to talk to you. And even before I say it, I would want to say, one thing that I've learned is my mother has been my role model. We start there. My mother that never went to grade R, that never worked for anybody except at home. She has been a housewife. She became my role model. I got this from my friend. I'll start by telling you a story. Nitsemba ku loko na chumu lo vanhu va nga rivaliku I story. Dyondzo yin'wana na yin'wana leyi taka hi story swa tika ku yi rivala. Anyway, I didn't tell you. I've got two kids, a girl and a boy that are here. My first girl is doing a first year in Pretoria. My second boy, my second born, the last born, is in grade 7. So I know what I'm doing as I talk to you, right? Okay. Let me start simply. I had this friend of mine. This friend grew up from a family where all the parents were not working. He said to me he was the last born in that family. So as the last born from a poor family, he would go to school, and when he reached school, people would laugh at him because of his poverty. What would then happen was, his father, who was of my size, and this boy was in grade 4. Imagine a grade 4 boy is this size, and the father is of my size. So, ataka hembe ya yena papa kura uniform. Hembe yo le amavoko so. Anyika n'wana wa yena wa ka grade 4 ku aya class na yona. My friend says, loko a karhi a famba, loko a fika teka hembe le a yimbala. Loko a yimbala hi ku a ri kun'wana la. A fane a yi pfinya hembe liya ku yi n'wi ringana. Yi za yi endle onge lexi rhwala xo tihunyi lexiya. Ane akumbaliwa short a xitixoti a xikolweni a primary. Look, ambala short liyani, the shirt would go even beyond the short. Yi vona ka hala hansi ka buruku loko a ngeniserile. So vana a va n'wi hleka van'wana loko va ya xikolweni. A vuya a byela mhani wa yena a ku mhani, no, it's enough. Na ku tshika xikolo. A swi ni pfuni nchumu ku ya xikolweni ni kha ni ya ni ya hlekiwa ni hundzuka xiphuta. The mother uttered one word, n'wananga vusiwana I nkumba, siku rin'wani u ta hluvula. Poverty is just like a blanket. One day you will take it off. Those words kept the boy at school, during break, after a feeding scheme, he would go and drink water. That will be the end of it. At home, at times there will be food. At times there will be no food. But the mother said to him, she reminded him, my child, poverty is like a blanket. One day you'll take it off. He went through his primary school, having people that were bringing eggs and stuff for breakfast and all. They were eating during break. He now drink water. So he went to grade 8, which was in a high school. When he went there, he says, he still did not have shoes. He would walk on foot. And then his father went to a shop where he used to go and borrow 80 kg. So he went to ask that man, can you take my boy to Smart Center? By those days, I got Rosel's house. Not Smart Center. No, guys, you will not know about these jobs. But now, they went there and opened an account. Those were the shops that would make an account. Open an account. Now, he got a white shirt and a blue shirt. He got a gray trouser and a khaki trouser. The uniform at the high school was a black trouser, a khaki, and a gray. But he only managed two. Now, at that high school, every time, if you are not on a uniform, you will come, put your head under the table, and you are lashed at the back. Afana biwa, so, on Monday and Wednesday, he says to me, it was a black and a white. On a Tuesday and a Thursday, it was gray and blue. On a Friday, it was a khaki and a white. So it means every Monday and every Wednesday, you will be punished for being poor. Now, he said, Mani nendlayini. I mean, I know opposite uniform, no bashambalo, nendlayini kuzani view. Mana yena ba ambala statement cha umbiri. Ba kumwananga Xikwembu xa swivona. That took the boy forward. And the boy said to me, I stuck with those two statements. The first one that says, poverty is a blanket. One day you'll take it off. The second one is, my boy, God sees whatever that is happening. So he went through his grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. By then it was in the 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then he passed grade 12. When he passed grade 12, he came home, he's the last born. He says he told them, I need to go to college. Call your brother. So the brothers came back home. This is the firstborn, or Stephen Musanda. He passed grade 12 because there was no money. He could not go to school. This is your second born brother. He passed grade 12. He sat home because he could not go to school. So where will you get money to take you to school? And the boy cried. He said, Mama, I want to go to school. And then in that household where they were sitting, he told me there was 270 rand remaining to run the whole family. 270 rand. And the mother, weeping, took out the 270. Bakumwananga imalinga salale. Yiteki. The boy took the 270, went for a lift, he went to college. By then, when at college, because colleges were cheaper, he says, when he arrived and queued for registration, in that year, they were only taking about less than 80 students, and maths and science students also, as he said. Now, he queued with them. And as they were registering, registration fee, he says it was 450. Yenes got 270 on the queue. Everybody was paying 450 registration, being registered. He comes with his 270. When he gave the administrator the 270, the man said, boy, stop playing. Move aside. We are serious. And we are told the boy, I imale koneni. Vakava register lavan'wana. Uri ka mina, loko hinkwaswo leswi swi herile, va shota hi vana lava va admitiwa. And he said, boy, come here. How much do you have? He said, this is the money I have. And the guy said, when will you pay the balance? And the boy said, my father and my mother will pay for me. Knowingly that they are not working, he took the last 270. And then said, okay, you must pay quickly within 3 months. He said, it's okay. And he said, he went to his room because the colleges, they even give you accommodation after paying that for free. He said he knelt down and began to cry. And he said, from now on, you are my father and you are my mother. You will pay for me. He says, you won't believe it. First test was chemistry. He said he got 98%. First test physics, he got 95. First test maths, he got 95. It proceeded that way. And those people called him and said, boy, you are not supposed to pay the balance anymore. It is fine. Now he continued. He says in his final year, maybe some of you will know him. He is in his final year. There was a strike at the college. And during that strike, people with money took food from the kitchen and they went to dump the food in the administration hall, just at the door. So the college closed the kitchen. And this boy was depending only on the kitchen food. And now the kitchen is closed. He has got no money even to go home. So he says to me, but James, this is what happened. While we were starving there with not knowing what to do, little did I know that my mother has gone out to start working to go and buy vegetables and sell them. So on this day, she was in that area selling coming from selling vegetables, buying vegetables. So she met this other guy. And the guy said, hey, Mama, your son there, because they were staying in the same village, your son there has got no food because we're on strike. I'm also going home now because they've closed the kitchen. And the mother said, okay. Then she walked from wherever she was until she reached the kitchen, the college. She had one loaf of white bread. And he says she gave him that loaf of bread. That is all she could afford. And the boy saw that as a miracle to have that loaf. So he would cut a quarter, eat it for a day and drink water. That will be fine. And then the second day he would go for a quarter, midday, drink a lot of water. And so after 3 days, the strike was called off. To cut the story short, he says, then he succeeded, he passed his grade, his college term. The time for graduation came. Therefore at home, his 2 brothers, a father and a mother. They did not have money to invite all of them. Only his mother and the firstborn brother managed to go to college. And this boy said, Brother James, that day, after graduation, when we went for pictures, I took off my hood, I took off my gown, I took off it, I put it on my mom. And he says, Mom, namuntlha ai mina ni graduataku ku graduata n'wina u ri mhani loko ku nga ri n'wina i nge ni tshike khale xikolo, but you stuck with me. Miku vusiwana inkumba siku rin'wana ni ta hluvula. Miku xikwembu xa swi vona namuntlha na graduata ku graduata n'wina mhani. Then ataka xinepe na mhana yena a hluvuli gown, a hluvula xidloko, a va nyika hinkwaswo na bandi, a va hi tekeni photo because mhani hi n'wina mi graduataka. I want to remind you, my sons and daughters, never undermine the role that your mom has played to bring you this far. Sorry, I don't know if you papa, I'm trying to see. Put it the love of man in Moon Loy. Now, many papa funny me love papa, and Bulawan and Migan Tantrisis. Mani wa munu vari. Loko ulumiwa ndeni atalumhanele hande. Ichanga. Utokuva balok mwana ari hala, kutomwa balok mwana ari hala. And okay. So, the boy said he determined in himself to say from now, nifani make sure kunirieta usiwana. Urla kasimula kutira. Aku, ntola katiri room, it's fine. Urla sa kutira. Ntaka ingwani yindla aka 5 room. Urla kasimula kutira. Ntana aka ingwani yindlu futhi iba 8 room. Ilela kusendeni. Aku ntashava na ndhawu yo tshama ka yona kwala xilungwini. Asima kutira va teacher. Swiya. Ura sungula ku nna ku xa movha ni tha vatswari va mina na mabotso wa mina na lava nga fani nga va tivi. He said in total, today, he has bought about 7 cars. Kuri heta ku ka hinkwavo lava nga kona la kaya na lava nga famba na la ku hlayela va za va fika laya. And to cut the story short, he says, after that, when he was working, he got an offer somewhere. The offer was irresistible. And during that offer, where he was working and where he's working, they took him to London. Everything paid for. And he says to me, when he was in the flight and his mother has passed on, by then, he began to cry when he was in that flight. Traveling for 16 hours, non-stop, to London. And what made him cry, he says, he remembered the words of his mother. My son, poverty, it's a blanket. It's like a blanket, one day you take it off. My son, while he was still wondering about that, the company took him to Australia. Again, flying through the ocean for about 19 hours, non-stop. Now he looked back and said, I wish my mother was still alive so that she can see the fruits of what she said. So 3-4 years back, he said to me, you know, I got an offer. I was in Beijing. I was sent to Beijing. Everything paid for in China. And every time that was happening, he was always thinking about his mother that has passed on. And as I speak, he says he doesn't have a problem on what to eat. He doesn't have a problem on what to drive. He doesn't have a problem on where to stay. And he said to me, right, James, I can tell you, I know South Africa. It's because of my mom. He says, I've traveled within the villages around South Africa. I know them well. And boys and girls, let me introduce you. The same boy that had this happening is the one talking to you. I took this opportunity to say I want to come and talk to you today because I know your background does not matter. It's about where you are going. It's not where you are coming from. It's not the size of a dog in a fight, but the size of a fight in a dog that will make you successful. What will take you forward is not what is outside you, but you have got all it takes inside of you to take you to whatever level. There is no barrier in life that can limit you except the one that you put on yourself. I know kuna sesi Roland Baloyi that lady ukume price la hikuva a reporte mhaka ya FNB stampede ava namboro ku reporta ku humelele yini a FNB va n'wi nyika price a hlamusele xitori lexiyani va kha va kha xitoko rhulana nga vona but she reported the story ku tlula hinkwavo lava va ri kona va kha va vona. So there is no limitations except the one that you put on yourself. You can become anything you want to become if you want to. Can I tell you, if you think you can, you are right. And if you think you can't, you are also right. The first determining factor that will make you change your family, change your background, change your home, the first determining factor is your attitude. How do you look at life? Attitude is everything. Attitude will either lift you up or take you down. I wish I could define an attitude. Quickly, I'll sit down. No, please. There will be other time that we are academic. No, come back. You are here for them. Thank you so much. I said an attitude is a determining factor. Why? Because an attitude reveals who you are, is the advancement of your true self. So, when I look at you, the way you treat me, the way you speak to me, that is your attitude comes out. Why? Because the roots of the attitude are inside, but the fruits are outside. Hello? The roots of your attitude are hidden, but the fruits are outside. Ashiboy only bzela ku na attitude ya njhani. Loko ni ku languta ni kwatela I attitude ya wena. So, if attitude ya wena aka teachera yi negative, nele ka subject ya yena yi negative. I wish to tell you ku the greatest engine head office hila. Loko la head office uku ani ngula teachera swimani mani voko riri yes sir aka head office. Loko ku metsa ni u lavisa byi endla ka ni lavi voko riri yes sir hiku head office te ri metsa wa tika voko ri tako a ni nga disappoint head office. Your hand always comply to your mind. That's why teacher leru randaku na subject ya rona wa ipasa. Leria inga rilaviku na subject ya rona pasa mato da score. Teacher ane amburi venga muhola wa hunguti. Ashinga achi upita ko randa za pasa subject ya rona. Hiku amburi venga njhana va nga tsemi muholo. Va tlhela nyika na bonus loko karhi. So, your attitude can be your best friend, and it can also be your worst enemy. Your attitude. Your attitude can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It can make people to run away from you or to come closer to you. Okay, mina na vanghana mina. Awuna vanghana hikuva awuna vunghana ndzeni. Attitude ya wena ya va hlongola. A ni ri na un'wana ni nga n'wi toloveka ku vula va n'wi tiva ku xaka ra mina. A ni hlamala ku yena vanghana va yena hi lava ya vo endla wonge a swi tshamisekangi. Hi lava twisala ka swa ka mahanyele ma huma ndleleni. We I ngo rhandza hi vala vo tani ntsena ku a ni swi tivi. Ni chaka ku n'wi byela eka mavavisi. I mhaka ya ku na mahanyele ma yena ma vita lava lavo tani ya ntsena. Okay. All right. Your attitude, the problem with an attitude, it is never content until expressed. Attitude ya wena ulaku unga itumbeti za humela handla mi yo kwata na mutlhaki u twa ka ni kwatangi ni yo biha. Okay, loko va vula swona ni pfumela lexa mundzuku na pundu ni ku ma bihani ni vona onge ni chele mati mo hisa na. Huh? So that's an attitude. So I will tell you these 3 things about an attitude that I read. An attitude is a librarian of your past. Your attitude tells me where you're coming from. Loko u fika humelela u vulavula swin'wana hi hatla hi vonele u humaka kona. Sesi hi nga kwayili mhani loko hi ku vona kutani hi hatla hi vona ku loko ta ku kona ku njhani. U hlangane na yini u nga swi rhwala baggage u nga yi rhwala u yi tisa ku i ya njhani, because an attitude is a librarian of your past. We are reading your library when we look at you. Number 2, your attitude is the speaker of the present. Your attitude tells us whether you will pass or fail. Ho ka ve ngese mi byela la mathicara ma n'wina ku wena attitude ya wena yi ri no, a u nga ha yi hala ku ya ku van'wana, ya wena yi ri ina, va ka ngese ku byela mara va yi vona. But it can change your attitude. Hello? It is not late to change your attitude. Lastly, in terms of an attitude, your attitude is the prophet of your future. Did you get that? Your attitude already tells us if you'll be successful or not. Your attitude tells me if you'll win or fail. Your attitude tells me if you'll have a good family or a bad family. Hi mhaka yo, what do you want? Mbewu yin'wana yin'wana yi tswala ximilani xo fana na mbewu yaleyo. Hopa mi ntwili. Your attitude is the prophet of the future. Whatever you are doing, bota mina siku rin'wani hi le ku fambe ni vona n'wana xi le ku bayizeli xin'wana xa mina laya ni ri ni ta xi napa lexi se bota info yimanyana wa tala ku ni vona n'wana loyi ni vona wena exactly. So u nga pfuki u ti xisa u ya ku ti bebuleni. Hello? I ya ku ti bebuleni u nga swi nga ta nga swi lavi leswi u swi endlaku, mara xexiya u ya bebule xexiya xo fana na wena. Loko ve wa nyangatsa i ya bebule xo nyangatsa. But what goes around comes around. Loko byala vele a wu nga tshoveli ndluwa. So leswi mi nga ku swi endleni, I want to tell you mi le ku byaleni. Don't make it sweet and short. So number 1 is your attitude. An attitude gives birth to courage. Once you have a positive attitude, it gives birth to courage. Courage says, I will make it. Yes, there's been COVID. I've not been to school for 4 months, but I have what it takes to make it. If 100 people in the whole country are going to pass grade 12, I'll be amongst them. Courage says, if 50 people are going to make it in the whole country, I'll be amongst them. Courage says, if 20 are going to make it, I'll be amongst them. And if 1 is going to make it, I will be that 1. That is courage. Niyaka xin'wana xikolo ni ri, hey class, manga ni byela la ka grade 12, I manga la nga ta kuma distinction laniwani. Ni twa va jika va tele, va ku hi loyi. So ni ri mi nga mi byela ku n'wima va swi tirhwayi hinkwenu mi ya phuta ku mi heleketa ya loyi na. I yini lexi nga ka loyi xi nga ri kona ku ka wena lexi endlaku yena a fanele a kuma distinction wa nga yi ku u xota yini ka wena? Hello? I yini lexi xotaku la ka wena lexi endlaku u tekela hansi? Courage says, I can take this regardless of the cost. In this life, as you go for your exams, life has got 2 things that will happen to everyone. The two things are, the first one is enjoy, the second one is endure. Munhu un'wana na un'wana u ta hlangana na nkarhi wa endurance, a hlangana na nkarhi wa enjoyment. Vana khombo lava rhangiweke enjoyment hikuva ta hetelela hi endurance. Va katekile lava sungulaka hi endurance va ta hetelela hi enjoyment. Because in this life you must sacrifice to be successful. If you don't sacrifice in this life, life will sacrifice you. They will meet you out there and say, "Ani nghena yena xikolo luya." Un'wana ka Jameson, sa wa hi kholo la nghena swilo xikolo. Loko na ha ya xikolweni, a va ya ku hloteni. Va chatisi va hi class, va ku ta dya xikolo. Ni kha dya xikolo. Ye ka ri ha swihari nhoveni. Guys, are you moving with me? Yes. Okay. My last take before I sit. We'll have time. Self-discipline. Self-discipline is when you are able to tell your friend, no, this is time to read. Self-discipline, you are able to prioritize. Prioritizing is putting first things first. That is prioritization. So when you are self-disciplined, you are able to know, loko ni ri n'wana wa xikolo, a ni endli leswi endliwaka hi n'wana wa xikolo. Loko ni ta va mutswari, ni ta endla leswi endliwaka hi mutswari. Hayi vice versa. When you have got self-discipline, you know, school first, my studies first, playing will come last. Xitafala xikolo, ni ta huwa, loko karhi wo tirha. Van'wani veri ku na van'wana karhi ku vurhongo. Ku hava munhu wo karhi ta hi vurhongo la. Na wese si va va hembela. Ni proven. A hi vurhongo byi karhataku munhu I vulolo. Ta mi nyika proof yin'we. Na ta mi nyika proof yin'we ntsena. Loko I ku Monday, munhu a nga swi lava ku pfuka exikolweni, u lava ku tlela. Ani? Loko I ku Saturday ku ya exikolweni, byi hela hi 4 vurhongo. A yi se va proof ya lembe ka zimbilela. Ivi va ku a hi tekeni trip. Hi lava ku teka trip ya lwandle Cape Town. Na leyo vurhongo wu kona. A byi nge phayi until 11. Ya leyo vurhongo hi mhaka trip ya Cape Town. Loko I ku 1:30 ka ha ri vusiku, u ta lava bazi ri n'wi siyini, ri kha ri famba hi 5. Ya luya wa vurhongo a bya ha phayi. Ani vuli swona? Hi siku ra trip bya ta vurhongo sesi. A byi ngati. Why byi ngati na? Hi ku lexi va tshembisaka xona na xirhanda, a na ha swi lavi ku tlela. Se tibuku na ti venga hi ku buku a yi nandzihi, se na tlela. Yes, my tip. Loko ve hi pela u na problem vurhongo, na tip ni byela ku vana ni fambinyana laha ni ka ni byela vana, van'wana va pasekaka. Fuka u kuma mati hi bawulo. Ndzi xava ku hlambela movha kuma milenge va yi vona ni. U chela mati me le pompini. I fika I tshama xitulwini, I teka milenge ya wena I yi chela ndzeni ka mati. A ni se tshama ni vona na munhu na wun'we byi nga tshama byi phaha swikun'wana swa ha titimela kumbe xirhende ka xitimela. Ni kombeni wun'we. Hambi wa nghena vukombeni u finingela until swikun'wana swi ku pfumela na xirhende xi ku pfumela byi nge phayi. Se loko ri na problem ya vurhongo wa yi cheka laha matini, hi ta vona hi mpela swi ta phaha na. That's a good tip, right? Guys, I want to close. I always close with a story. Vana van'wana loko ku yiwa xibedhlele, namuntlha va lava hi mhani ngopfu, a ni tivi swo yini, va mhani mina mi katekile. Mhani loko a fika awadini leyi a veke u bebuleliwa kona, va endla life science musi vana van'wini. Find the life science, honey. Find the life orientation. So, in the word, they will cover the word. And if the mother is expecting, all of a sudden, even before that, the reason you are here, my sons and daughters, they say, before munami beburiwa, vama kwenu vawena uriweshe, labangalwa na wena, ukubeburiwa bona, they are about 6 million. Hikarinyana umwe, labangalwa na wena kuyafika leka mani, kumani batika, abara 6 million. Mandi twani, laka pizza. Well, one, about 6 million. Yaba bota sasa wawe. Awara kupikizana na wena. Kuhimina laka kuyani African beburiwa. Landele akupushaniwa. Lokupushaniwa o ala ya mahlo e. Van'wana va tsandekile va fala ndleleni o ala ya mahlo e. Out of the 6 million, wena uri 1 uyafika. That tells me you are not an accident. Out of 6 million, brothers and sisters, oh, you. So you became number 1, and number 2, number 3. Look at what twins coming. Our twins are moon. Other 6 million, there was no number 2. Number 2 up to number 6 million, all did not make it, they died. You only survived. So in that race, you became number 1. Out of the 6 million, you became number 1. And you knew you were a champion. I'll tell you why. In that word, when you came out, there was an announcement. Doctors may not have told you what you were saying. The nurses would not have known what you were saying. But you were saying, I have arrived. When you cried, when you were given birth to, none of you was quiet when you were born. But you made a sound. That sound was an announcement that I have arrived. The champion is born. So, if you conquered this, out of 6 million, you became number 1. Why is it that out of this small grade 12 South African kids, you don't believe you'll be number 1? What makes you look down upon yourself? If you conquered 6 million, you became number 1. But now that you are here, you want to live as a reject. Why do you want to do that? In closure, there were 2 clever boys. And there was a 1 wise old man. Now these boys were told as they were growing, that is the wisest man in the community. And the boy said, we want to prove. The MC is telling me the time is over. Okay, go on. All right. Now, the old man was there and they said, when we grow up, we want to prove him that we are wiser than him. So they took a trick. They said, let us take a bait. Let us go and get a small bird. They went to get a small bird out of a nest. But it could fly, but it was still a small bird, right? They said, they want to take this bird, I'll put it in my hand like this. What we are going to do, we will ask the old man, the wise old man, old man, is this bird dead or alive? If the old man says, the bird is alive, he will squash it and kill it to prove him wrong. When the old man says, this bird is dead, I will open my hand, allow it to fly, to prove the old man wrong. We want to show him we are bright. So they went to the old man sitting on the wooden chair. They took 20 rand, put on the table. They said, old man, here's the bait. If you get the answer right, you get this 20 rand. What is the question? The boy said, we have a bird in our hand. Now I want you to tell us if this bird is alive or dead. If you get the answer right, you get the 20 rand. But their trick was, whatever he says, the 2 answers that he gives, they'll oppose him. If he says alive, they'll squash it. If he says dead, they'll open his hand and let it fly. The old man smiled, took 50 rand out of his pocket, put it on the table and said, boys, if I get the answer wrong, take 50 rand and go to McDonald's. Go and enjoy yourself. And as they were smiling that they have won, the old man said, the life of that bird is in your hand. If you kill it, it will die. If you let it live, it will live. Whatever that I have said, whatever made me to move from Pretoria to come and talk to you, it's a simple story. You can blame your teachers. You can blame your background. You can blame COVID. You can blame your situation. But at the end of the day, your future is in your hands. If you kill it, it will die. If you let it live, your future will be bright. Your future is in your hands. These are the words that I would have loved to tell my daughter. And today, you are my sons and my daughters. And I'm saying to you, your future is in your hands. I wish you the best in whatever you do. God bless you.